The company's vision is to use AI to democratize financial services to make sure that users make better financial decisions, that they better understand and manage their money. We handled hundreds of millions of AI-powered conversations over the past 10 years, and that actually enabled us to create what we call Kai GPT, which is a large language model that is specifically designed for banking. We're trying to create net new experiences, and Kai GPT takes that to completely next level.
I'm excited for this week's edition of the Raz Report. This is a Fintech Power Hour with a power company. We're getting excited for the Fintech Awards and Fintech Deal Day in November. We have Zor Gorelov of Kasisto. I pronounce it. Am I pronouncing it wrong?
No, Kasisto.
Kasisto. So we have Kasisto here. This is an AI software company in the banking industry, and this is a real company. I know there's a lot of AI companies that say they're AI. It reminded me back in the day when cannabis was popular, then crypto, and these companies attach these things to it. This company is true AI. It's raised a lot of money, and when you raise a lot of money, yes, there's a lot of work to do, but it means others who are very smart are validating what you are doing. So I'm super excited to have a chance to talk to Zor on this week's edition of the Raz Report Fintech Power Hour. So, hey, how you doing today, Zor?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Jason.
Yes, thank you for coming on. And we'll go all over the place. But when did you start the company, and what gave you the idea to start it?
Well, it started, this is our 10th year, and you said we've been doing AI for a long time, all in financial services and banking. Kasisto is a spin-off from Stanford Research Institute, or SRI International. SRI is one of the largest R&D labs in the world, creators of Siri. Apple Siri was created at SRI before it was bought by Apple, and Kasisto in many ways is building on legacy. There was next generation startup, AI startup that was created at SRI, targeted at the enterprise market and financial services specifically. My co-founder, Sasha Kasky, and CTO, and myself, we started the company with a vision of using intelligent AI-powered digital assistants to help users with their finances. The company's vision is to use AI to democratize financial services to make sure that users make better financial decisions, that they better understand and manage their money.
Got it. Okay. So now that's a big thing, using AI to help consumers better understand and manage their money. And you know what I want to ask next? How?
Well, we built intelligent digital assistants that are trained on loads and loads of data. When they come out of the box, they know debits and credits and withdrawals and deposits and checking accounts and savings accounts. They understand the language of finance, but they're also connected to consumers' bank accounts securely and safely, so they can have conversations with you about your finances and can help you make better financial decisions.
Okay, so a real life example. You have banking partners, right? I mean, I see on your site your partners, NCR, FIS, but you have banking partners. So maybe not JP Morgan, but other banks, correct?
Including JP Morgan, TD Bank, Standard Charter, Emirates. We have customer deployments in 16 different countries in 4 different languages. We handled hundreds of millions of AI-powered conversations over the past 10 years, and that actually enabled us to create what we call Kai GPT, which is a large language model that is specifically designed for banking. NCR, companies like NCR, FIS, and Q2 are partners, and they're basically integrating our conversational assistants with their digital banking platform, so we're enabling their customers to interact with banks using conversations and natural language.
Got it. Okay. So I guess that's amazing. So I should open up my JP Morgan account. You're saying I have a JP Morgan banking account. Are you saying if I'm in that banking account, I ask a question, it's your AI engine that's powering that?
It's interesting. No, this is not it. We have, if you look at our product portfolio, we have digital assistants that are purpose built for retail banking, for business banking and treasuries and investment management. So on retail banking, what you would expect is like questions like, what did I spend on Uber last month on my trip to Detroit? Um, Corporate banking is quite different. It's what do I have in my, in Singaporean dollars in my 2-day projected ledger, and investment management assistant is about portfolios and, do I have tax stocks in my portfolio? What are the cost basis for Apple? Uh, JP Morgan is not our retail banking customers. TD Bank is our customer in the US and Canada. So if you have a TD Bank account, you could try it as well.
Okay, so if I have a TD bank account in Canada, I
Or
can try it,
US.
or US. So um, and I go in there and ask a question like how much money is in my checking or what I spend on Uber last month. You're saying your thing will spit out an answer.
Correct. Clary is a TD digital assistant in Canada that supports both English and French. It's been running since 2018 or 19, I think. Very effective, and TD has done a really, really good job at integrating it into the overall digital banking experience. Now, you touched on something that is quite interesting, and this is sort of like I wanted to talk a little bit about the philosophy of why conversational interfaces and when to use them. Um, at Kasisto, we look at conversational AI or conversational user interface as a way to provide net new capabilities uh, above and beyond what users are able to do on digital channels, right? Very popular use case for chatbots and digital assistants is I'd like to transfer money. I'd like to transfer $100 from checking to savings tomorrow. And what I say to banks, I say, well, if you need speech or natural language interface to help users transfer $100 from checking to savings, then you probably need to fix your app. I think people know how to transfer money in their apps and they're happy about it. I think conversational interface is about creating net new experiences that generate surprise and delight and doing things that you're not able to do on digital channels or even in call centers or interacting with other humans. Try to call your bank and ask them the question that I just example that I gave you. What did I spend on Uber on my last trip to Detroit? Right? They just, it's hard to get in your mobile app. It's hard to get in your, when you call center, probably won't answer the question. They'll ask you to download your transaction history and, go to Excel. And we're trying to create net new experiences. And Kai GPT takes that to completely next level.
Well, so you went into you just said chat. Did you say this chat GPT? Is that what you
I
just
said
said?
I said Kai GPT.
Kai
Kai
GPT.
GPT. It sounds
Okay,
like Chat GPT, but
I know.
it's a
So
banking specific large language model.
so the AI you were providing in 2018, is that similar to what you're doing now?
No, there is a sea change in AI that happened with the introduction of GPT models and Chat GPT. I think today's AI systems and AI systems that everybody was building for the past 10 years, I refer to them as prescriptive AI, Jason, which once I explain, you will understand what I mean by that. Prescriptive AI means, yes, there is a natural language model there, but every response, every script, every user experience had to be manually coded. I mean, there's a lot of buzzwords in AI, self-learning, self-training, and deep learning, and every company uses it. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of hard work analyzing the data. The example I always go to is COVID. In 2020, in February of 2020, the only virus that our digital assistants knew about were computer viruses. And
Okay.
then we had to look at the viruses and we had to look at corona and COVID and somebody saying I have financial hardship because of COVID and I need to I need to cancel my get a refund because I had to cancel my trip because my flight was canceled because of the virus, and so that took completely different meaning. It does. The systems don't learn from thin air. I mean, somebody needs to go in, look at it, and say, okay, it's not a computer virus we're talking about. It's different. Let's start building intents. Let's try training the system. So these are prescriptive systems of today. Generative AI creates descriptive systems. There are systems that know a lot coming out of the box. They're still trained on the data that existed historically. So I think, if COVID did not exist, you still need to retrain your model. But these are the models that they know more about banking than most bankers do. So, and you don't have to, code them manually. You don't have to anticipate what users are going to say. So we are in completely different world today, and the opportunities created by generative AI are really transformational banking. There is a reason Goldman is saying that 300 million white collar jobs are at risk, and banking is one of those sectors, of course.
Okay. So this generative AI is changing things then, and is that what gave the birth of GPT type stuff?
Right. So generative GPT is type of generative AI. It started in I think generative AI, OpenAI introduced their first models in maybe a couple of years back. We started using them, but ChatGPT came out in November, I think November 30th. And it really, I think two things happened with ChatGPT beyond the obvious. It's the fastest growing consumer product in history. It reached 1 million users faster than Instagram and Spotify, and all kinds of statistics that I'm sure you're familiar with. But it set the bar. It told users what conversational experiences can be like powered by AI. So, from young kids to students to colleges to writers and everybody, in between, people started using the systems. And of course, on top of that, there was a very broad media coverage. So everybody knows what ChatGPT is. I think Pew Research showed that 58% of US consumers either know or tried ChatGPT. So there is a massive adoption, and people are beginning to imagine what this conversational experiences powered by AI can be. What does it mean to really talk to a machine? But it doesn't have to be scripted. Sometimes you get me, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you send me to the wrong place. And that, I think every bank in the world, every enterprise in the world, if they want to be servicing their customers and engaging their customers with AI, I mean, they need to be looking at it.
Okay, so your company being around 2018, I mean, is that the year you started or no?
2013. We started.
Okay,
It's our 10th year.
10th year. So then 2018, 16, you guys moved to working with banks, and then Chat GPT comes around. So does the Chat GPT model of how this AI conversation, does that greatly improve the software you're offering these banks? Or what I'm really getting at is from 2018 to 2023 with the GPT models coming out, how did that change how your business works with these banks?
Right. So I just want to make one thing clear. We do not use ChatGPT. We
Yep, I
built
know.
our own large
Kai
language model
GPT.
called Kai GPT. That is correct.
Yep.
So we started working with large language models that are not new. I think one of the first large language models came out in 2018. It was called BERT. And we immediately adopted it and started using BERT. We built something called KBERT or Kasisto BERT. Basically, it's BERT enhanced with Kasisto data. Remember, one of the things that we've done over the past 10 years, we processed hundreds of millions of conversations. We know how people around the world interact with banks with AI. So we started working with large language models back then. We started working with generative AI probably a couple of years ago, as soon as OpenAI came out. And then in May of this year, we launched Kai GPT. And Kai GPT is a large language model that is purpose built for banking. It is designed to be accurate. It answers questions, not just pulling content from the internet, but it answers questions by looking at banking documents. It is designed to be trusted. Over the past 30 years, we learned how to handle PII and proprietary bank information, and we built all the infrastructure to support that so banks can trust it. It is transparent. I think one of the biggest issues with large language models and some lawsuits, which I'm sure you've heard about, is about copyright. Yep. What is the system trained on? What are the data sources? We provide full transparency of data, training data, and the algorithm. And last but not least, it is customizable. So banks can take Kai GPT and enrich it with their own content, make it their own. So Kai GPT is accurate, trusted, transparent, and customizable.
So what makes you built this Kai GPT to work with the banking sector? How did you program it to be targeted to the banking sector? Like, what did you guys do differently than a general purpose like a Chat GPT?
That's a very good question, and so the our head of engineering, uh, Keelan, wrote a blog post on our website that goes into details of how and why we built Kai GPT. We built it to be more accurate, as I said, when it comes to financial services types of questions. We built it by using hundreds of millions of data points that we collected from conversations with banks around the world. These conversations are all PII free, they're all anonymized. We built it by scanning 16 million pages on the internet about with financial service information. We looked at SEC filings, we looked at various regs. So it is built on a strong foundation of financial data, and it understands and answers questions about financial services better than anyone else. This is, if you're familiar, I think there was work that Bloomberg announced called Bloomberg GPT, where they trained and built their own large language model around their own data and also internet data. We use the same approach effectively like Bloomberg GPT, but Kai GPT is designed for specifically for banking.
Got it. Got it. Here, back to video. Got it. So that's kind of, you can read the blog post on your site, but so that's kind of like how you guys went about it. You looked at content related to the banking sector, built the models based on banking. So is now a new growth phase for your company as consumers are now more comfortable with asking questions, whereas I think before they weren't, and so it's now like a new growth phase for the company.
So this is an excellent question. Thank you. So the answer is yes. We've in 10 years of business, I've never seen level of interest in new technology comparable to what it is now. We literally had dozens and dozens of meetings over the past 6 months with CXO, some of the largest banks around the world. So I think the banks understand how transformative it is. With that said, these systems, at least the ones we're building today, they are not yet designed for end consumer consumption. Uh, the hallucination is a real problem, and we provide very accurate, trusted answers, but there is a risk of hallucination. Eliminating hallucination is beyond state of the art. So what we're doing, we're building systems, human in the loop kind of feedback systems, where our systems are targeted at bankers, contact center agents, financial advisors, relationship managers, mortgage brokers. They can interact with the systems, and if they are comfortable with the answers, they can just press the button and it goes to the consumer. So we still today we're probably some time away before generative AI responses can go directly to the consumers, but we are confident in the quality of responses and accuracy of responses that we provide to the bankers, and the bankers can then interact with consumers. So it's really today it's labor augmentation and productivity play to help bankers with, if I'm a banker and I work for a large bank, I probably support dozens of products, and I probably have a couple of hundred customers, and I need to know everything from fixed income to loans to mortgages, and the amount of information and regs and policies are overwhelming, and that's where Kai GPT comes in. We can help bankers. So think of it as a banker co-pilot, if you will. So you have AI-powered co-pilot on your shoulder helping you with the answers.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So now your business, you've raised now how much money?
We raised $82 million over several rounds, and we have very healthy combination of venture investors like Oak HCFT, Two Sigma, Propel, Raw Ventures, but we also have strategic investors in the company. DBS Bank, Mastercard, Westpac, NCR, FIS are all investors in the
I
company. So
also
we
saw
have
I also saw the New York the New York something was invested financial.
Oh,
What's that?
yeah, Fintech Innovation Lab. It's a very
Yes.
interesting organization.
Yep.
It's a think of a Fintech Lab in New York as a Y Combinator of New York.
Yep.
They are, but focused on specifically on fintech. It's a very interesting group,
So
very influential, very effective in New York.
did they get you to partner with a company? Because isn't Fintech Innovation Lab part of like a program where you go partner with a company and go inside
We
it? Did they?
That is correct. We were members and winners of Fintech Innovation Lab's program in 2014. We're one of the alumni of the program, and we have very deep roots and have very strong connections with the organization itself, but also with various startups who
Yep.
went through the program.
Absolutely. Okay. So you have a lot of strategic investors. You raised 82 million, you said thus far. Before this company, did you raise money for another company and sell it?
Well, this is my third enterprise software startup, all in New York.
Okay.
First was in .com. I started the company in late 90s,
What was it called?
and the company was called buzzcompany.com. We did enterprise messaging and collaboration software and intranets. The company was acquired by Maltex. And then I used to
Wait,
work in Bell Lab.
what was the company at Maltex acquired?
The company acquired Maltex acquired buzzcompany.com. Now, Maltex itself was acquired by Reuters.
Yeah, I know Maltex very well, but your company was Buzz, B-U-Z?
Buzzcompany.com and Maltex acquired
Yeah, yeah.
Buzz
I
Company.
I I know people from Maltex from back in the day. I used to love Maltex because it had did the best job at the significant developments tab. So you want to see a company, you want to read all the stuff. They were doing
Exactly right.
Axios short, brief stuff before anyone else. This is back in '98 when I got into the stock market big time, and I used Maltex all the time.
Yeah, great company, a great team who's
Yep.
founded, and so Maltex acquired a Buzz because of our software, enterprise messaging, collaboration, internet software, and then I moved
Really?
on. Yeah, I started a company called Speech Cycle. My career started at Bell Labs, where I worked with some of the early implementation of speech recognition and natural language systems. I like to say that in those days, large language models were small, and computers required to run them were quite large. And I started speech recognition company in New York called Speech Cycle, and we focused on contact center optimization for telco market. So Cablevision and Cox Communication and Telstra and Australia and Verizon were all customers. We basically built some of the early versions of phone-based virtual assistants using speech recognition technology. That company was acquired by Synchronous Technologies in public company in 2012, and then I moved on and started Kasisto.
Got it. Okay. And so that's where you're here now. So now you guys raised $82 million. With that money, I mean, your software, I'm assuming, I mean, it's software, right? A high margin business. I mean, it's not, you don't have to hire a million people to do your business. So what makes you, I'm assuming you have a lot of money in the bank. What makes you guys raise so much? I mean, maybe it's not a lot compared to the opportunity that you have in front of you to be the new enterprise platform for banking communications, which is probably a market size that it's, unfathomable. But like, what makes you decide to raise versus, okay, well, you raise this amount. Why do we, is it, what was it, the strategic investors or what have you?
Well, we raise money to grow our business, and we have great interest from investors these days because we're one of the few companies that is well positioned to capitalize on generative AI. The generative AI models, they are not trivial to build, and they're very expensive to build. The cloud and compute costs are, quite high. They will probably come down, but I think in one of the presentations that Bloomberg did, they said that they trained a model for 53 days on multiple high, sort of GPU, high power GPU computers. There was a team of 9 people working on it, and this is Bloomberg. So these are hard and expensive models to build.
Yep, got it. And so what you're saying is you have to have top of line developers to build this kind of stuff. You have to, like, how many people do you have at your team on your team?
Well, we have 75 people in the company, not just top-notch developers. You need to have top-notch AI scientists. And there are probably 100 people around the world that really understand how these AI models work, how to build them. And we have few of them in our company. These
I'm
are,
not one. I'm not one of them.
neither am I. So, but they are AI PhDs with very deep expertise, and we have extremely strong R&D team led by our CTO and head of engineering.
No, that's amazing. Now, a little more off the wall questions. So, your company, Kasisto, is doing amazing
Kasisto.
right now. Kasisto. See, you know what?
Kasisto, by the way,
Company names.
Kasisto
Well, no,
stands
go
for
ahead.
bank teller. Kasisto stands for bank teller in Esperanto. That was a code name that we wanted to start a company, but the vision from day one was to build AI-powered bank tellers and bankers.
Ah, got it. I mean, you want people saying your name, Kasisto, 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 Kasisto. Our company name is Benzinga, and most people will say Bazinga or Baz, whatever. And I get frustrated, but yeah, Kasisto. It's easy. It's spelled just like it
For me, it
sounds. It's
was
really
easy. I like California wine, so Benzinger is one of my favorite wineries. So
Oh, there you go.
that's
See,
yeah.
see, you got. So we should have had. That's actually. I should do a show with the Benzinger wine on the freaking table, and send it to you first. But yeah,
And and
Kasisto is.
I have a topic for you. You can call it AI, and AI is artificial intoxication. Get Benzinger involved.
There we go. We can do that. Artificial intoxication. We can do it. That's good. You didn't just think of that one just now, did you? That was something. Okay, so now I'm gonna move it though. So Elon Musk, as you know who he is, recently announced that X could account for half the financial transaction in the world. He wants it to become the everything app. Do you think that a social media player like Twitter or Facebook could become a big player in the financial space? Why or why not? Now that was a question asked by Aaron Bree here, so not me.
Well, there are. I'm not smart enough to answer the question, and I'm certainly not going to
Oh
dispute
yeah,
what
yeah. I know what kind of
Elon
guy you
Musk is
are.
saying. But however, there are precedents of that. There are super apps. I mean, WeChat in China. So it's been done, and many organizations looked at it. I mean, whether it can be done in the U.S., I don't know, but he's the guy who gets things done and gets things done that nobody believes in. With that said, he predicted that by 2020 there will be 1 million self-driving cars in the world. We're still not quite there yet.
Yeah, I know. You predicted that you would have a taxi, my Tesla that I had for years that I could make money on. I don't have it anymore. I got rid of it eventually, but I didn't make any money on it. But I made money on the stock though. So thank you, Elon. I'll give you that.
That's it. That's right.
All right. Next thing. So interest rates. This is more market related. You're going to say I don't talk market, but I'm just going to do it. Interest rates have just hit their highest point in 20 years. Have you seen that slow down investments in the fintech industry at all?
That's a very good question. 22 years actually, not 20. We've seen banks become more cautious after SVB. I don't know whether it's interest rate related, but after SVB happened, we've seen banking sort of banks pulling back and on non-discretionary spending and thinking about where to invest their money. We feel we're in good position because we help banks save money by adding AI capabilities. And if you go to a banker and say, I'll help you save $2 today or make $10 tomorrow, they always opt for $2 in
Yeah,
savings.
100% versus spending money. If they can save, and you're going to help them save because they can cut costs on personnel and different things when you're making phone calls.
Yeah.
Because that real life example of how much I spend on Uber is important. Okay, a few more questions and we'll be done. You've run multiple companies, right? You've been successful, sold them. What are some secrets you have to running a team?
I don't have any particular secrets, but I've learned a lot along the way. I think two things that are important for the founders when they start a business is creating a vision and mission for the business, and then creating set of core values that will drive company's culture. We've done that before we started the company. Three or four of us sat down and for 2 days and we said, what do we want to be? What's the vision of the company? What's the mission? What kind of culture and values do we want to create in this company? How do we want to hire people? What kind of people we want to hire? What's important for us? How do we want to work with customers? Who goes first, employees or customers? And these are the questions that need to be answered. I think these are important. These are extremely important for ultimate success, because people, today's world, people want to join an organization that have purpose, that stand for something, and that have strong culture, values, and things that they believe in.
So, given with that culture thing, is your team in the office, fully remote? How does that work?
We are hybrid. We are, would like people to come in more often, frankly, but we are fairly flexible. We always were flexible, and before COVID, our work from home policy was very relaxed. And probably we have midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have more people coming in, especially on Thursday. Like today, it's a pizza day. So more people come in, and it feels great when people are in the office. I'm in the office every day, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm in the office today. We have, we're about 100 people, and 60% are remote because they're not here. But and yeah, so that's it's just a different world. But and then well, I guess one before the last. You guys have a lot of clients. You're well integrated into many of the banks. I know it's word of mouth, but at first, was it a lot of phone calls? Was it going to conferences? How did you meet your clients? Like, how did you guys get your business?
Well, I think this this is a big industry, but at the end of the day, it's an industry where everybody knows everyone else. I think your name and reputation, successes that you have really matters. I think we do all the marketing that everybody else does, but at the end of the day, we had the most success, especially with large banks, word of mouth. Especially in the early days, where literally we had a CEO of a major bank pick up phone and call CEOs of other banks saying, "I work with these guys, and they did this is what they did for me. You should take a meeting." And so that we've had a lot of success with that. So it's a small industry, and it's your company's name, your company's reputation really matters. You do something good, and then the word gets around.
Absolutely. And for those who don't have the name and the brand, feel free to come to our Fintech Deal Day in November, where we have banks, brokerages, thousands of people in New York, right by you guys at Convene in one of those places down the street. I don't know when it is. November. They told me to say that. November 13th. Okay. Is there anything Zor, that I did not ask you, CEO of Kasisto, anything that you want to say before we head off?
No, I think it's great. So thank you for having me. We are really excited about the generative AI opportunities that that exist in financial services and in banking. I mean, the world around us is changing, and I was happy to be on your podcast and share some of my thoughts.
Yep, we'll get this out in the next week or so. But yeah, we appreciate you for coming on the Raz Report. We're doing this FinTech Power Hour, a few a week, leading up to our event. But your company, I mean, raising that kind of money, I know there's a lot of different people you have to answer to, and just in having that kind of thing, you've obviously grown a company that is here to stay, and obviously well respected, because you're not getting that kind of money if you're not doing the right thing. So congrats to you. Hats off to you. I know you've already sold a couple of companies, but you're doing something right. And looking forward to having you on in a year from now and seeing how much you've grown, because you're saving banks money. And at this day and age, if you're saving someone money, they want to talk to you. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep.